Gilali on the counter. Has so much green grass to run into here with Nkunku. Just cancels that cross, maintaining possession. Here's Salamakers. Leao with the really quick strike. He's gone for it again, but the ball has stayed alive. And it will come back at his goal here with Jimenez on the turn. Loftus-Cheek back to him. Nkunku's there as well, but there's no conviction on that strike at all. It's really tame, and it's a let-off for Sakti.
Yeah, they were queuing up there. Sakti just about got away with it. At the moment, with the time ticking down here, Harry, ball's in the wrong end of the pitch if you're Sakti.
And it's been in play for quite some time here as well. So no real opportunity to make any tactical changes. 90th minute. And the ball is at the wrong end of the pitch for Sakti, who trails. 2 minutes added on. All Gilali has to do is keep the ball. And as it goes all the way back to Mike Manyan, after he punts this one up the pitch, that will be the full-time whistle. Gilali 3, Sakti 2. A big 3 points in this mobile group stage. Goes back to Morocco, our East Asia and Oceania regional winner in his first finals. Starts off with 3 points.
It's a great marker to set down if you are Gilali. Again, you know, in his opening words, he said, if I'm on my game, I'm impossible to beat. I'm going to echo that one because, again, it's a soundbite that could either come back to haunt him or he certainly has proved in game one. It's almost the making of him because at that point, it certainly looks to be a force to reckon with.
Yeah, it took him, what, just 4 minutes to open our scoring with some neat footwork by Rafael Leao. That was the first of 3. As we saw these two just really go blow for blow. I think Gilali is going to be one really to look out for here in this group stage, Wes, because he's already got 3 points, and more often than not, all you have to do is pick up a result here or there, and you can find yourself just waiting with a game in hand.
Well, that's it. I mean, you know, we certainly saw it in the console in terms of foot easy. Got his 2 victories, and again, results went his way, and he was able to just very happily just relax into that second game, into that third game, beg your pardon. But for here, it's a massive statement of intent for Gilali against Sakti, against the rest of that mobile group.
Yeah, we saw there the first goal from Sakti, and then obviously Leao just given the ball. And when he's in the box, it's so difficult to try and get that ball back off of him because his balance, his footwork, you don't want to put a foot in anywhere near him because you could concede a penalty. In the end, his finishing does the rest. And then this was the defining moment. This pass to Santiago Jimenez. And it was some finish.
Yeah, it was all about that ball. It was just a wonderful pass that, again, just completely broke open the defence. Jimenez able to run onto it. Takes one touch just to give himself the angle. Rolled it past the goalkeeper. That was that for game one. Yeah,
great opener of our mobile group stages. Gilali onto the board first. Sakti, though, Anna, with lots of work to do going into the rest of the group stages.
Yes, guys, I have a question for you. Who is your favorite player of AC Milan now?
Ooh, Rafa Leao, surely.
I mean, Rafa Leao does get does certainly get the plaudits, but my one, again, more so because I'm English-centric, Fikayo Tomori. Love him as a defender. I think he deserves way more credit than he gets as a defender.
And what about Modric?
Oh, yeah.
It's a good point. I forgot about Luka Modric.
Yeah, the thing is that Luka Modric is one of those players that I always refer to as evergreen. It's that you could probably take him from any of the generations that he has been, and he is still Luka Modric through all of those years. And despite being an elder statesman of the game now, still absolutely world class.
Of course, he's a legend, but also the present of football. He is still the legend, the present of football. But guys, are you superstitious in life, in games?
Oh, am I superstitious? No. Do you know what? I'm very much a case of, you know what? If it's going to be, it's going to be, and it will happen regardless of whether I put my right shoe on first or my left shoe or my left sock or my right sock. I'm not superstitious in the slightest.
The Japanese have a word that I've always liked to cling on to, shukume. It means that which is already determined. It's out of your control. I think I'm kind of a believer in that. I think that these players, though, will know it's all within their hands, but the more the group stages tick on, that's when you start to realise, oh, actually, I might need some help from elsewhere. I might need a result or a goal or two to go my way.
So you don't have any lucky rituals as well, no?
No, unfortunately not.
So.
Unfortunately not. I'm very much laissez-faire. I'm very happy-go-lucky. It happens. It happens.
It's a good attitude. Okay, guys. So I want to check with you the standings. Okay. So I want to know your thoughts about this match and about the results.
But yeah, I think we should definitely take a look, because Jalali, we've said before, once you make your debut at this stage, I mean, the club events, despite the qualifying process going on since, what was it, October, late October, once you get to this stage, all of those months of hard work, you have to put it in place now. And we can see after our first round of games that we are, going to be seeing a really tight affair, I think, in the mobile group stages. Sakti, I think, is the one that is probably on the ropes a bit early on, because having just lost your first game, it's not how you want to start off a group stages. You have to hit the ground running.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, in terms of almost expectations that come with his nation, in terms of, as we mentioned, Indonesia as a country, and certainly in that part of the world, in Southeast Asia mobile gaming, it's Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia. There's a real hotbed of talent around there, and I think for Sakti there is that little bit of expectation that comes with it. You see an Indonesian flag, you immediately think winner, and I think that can sometimes be a little bit kind of almost against him. I mean, he even said it in his own kind of VT, which was, my minimum expectation is to be in the top 2. That's great, and it's great as a soundbite. Still need to go out there and perform, and I think that's where he might get into a bit of trouble.
Today we are watching a lot of players from around the world, from around the globe, but I don't know any important things of you. What's your favorite country? What's your favorite city?
I mean, in terms of countries, I'm very much I'm a home bird. Very much, you take me back to England, and not that I don't like being here, of course, or across the globe, but there's certainly something about going home and going back to your house that is just very much like I'm back at home. It's creature comforts. It's all of those things. I'm very much a home guy.
England or Birmingham?
No, very much. If you take me back to England,
Peaky Blinders.
Oh, well, that's what my area is known for across the world. But yeah, quite. It's very much a home away from home.
And listen, we're here at the AC Milan Club event finals. Why not Milan? Why not? I mean, come on. I love Japan, love Tokyo, love the home of eFootball. I love home as well, England. But Milan's a special city.
Really?
Plenty of good food, good culture. Yeah, let's go with Milan.
Okay, thank you guys. But let's see the next match. Let's not wait any longer to witness the 5th match of the finals between Lezilali versus Labobo 7.
السلام عليكم، معكم وديع جمال 17 عام، لاعب مغربي مقيم بإسبانيا. تنشي الميلان يعني الكثير، شرف لي كبير أن أمثل فريق مثل ميلان. ما هي المباراة التي تعتقد أنها ستكون الأصعب بالنسبة لك؟ المباراة الأصعب التي ستكون بالنسبة لي ضد زكريا، إنه صديقي لاعب مغربي. ستكون مباراة صعبة علي كثير. قضية دور المجموعات نحاول أن نربح الماتش الأول. المنافسة غتكون مفتوحة، بطبيعة الحال، لأن كاع اللاعبين مزيانين بزاف. بطل أوروبا، بطل آسيا، بطل أمريكا، بطل آسيا الوسطى، يعني غتكون متقاربة بزاف. وكنبغي نقدم التحية لإيفوتبول اللي دارت واحد الخدمة زوينة بزاف، وكنشكر صحابي، كنشكر الله سبحانه وتعالى، ولقيت هو ما نقولش دابا أنا هنايا، كنشكر والديا، والسلام عليكم.
friends turn to adversaries here. There's no friends in esports, is what I always like to say, Wes. We're here at the club event finals, and these two, although they've been singing each other's praises in their pre-game interviews, so we're here at the club event friendships aside here, as Morocco against Spain is underway. Jalali taking on Labobo 7. And we've already seen Jalali with a strong start in this competition. He's done it again.
Very quick off the mark is Jalali.
That's 2 goals, Wes, in 2 games within 4 minutes.
Quite incredible start from the Moroccan. As you rightly said, much as you are friends off the field, the minute you go across those white lines, everything is off the table. What a start there for Jalali. See again here, just neat one-touch, 1-2 pass that just allows Rafael Leo the shooting opportunity. Actually nestles right into the back of the net. Great start for him. Great start
for the 22-year-old against the 17-year-old. Wadi Jamal trailing here within 5 minutes. He's barely had a kick of the ball. Jalali just clinical at this stage. And after winning his first game, Jalali, as things stand, would book his ticket early on to the grand finals later on this evening. Wouldn't be the first time in the season, Wes, if it were to go that way, that we'd have a Moroccan winning the first club event. I think back to Anton Tienes in 2024, winning the Barcelona finals. But obviously a long way to go until we get to that point. A lot of things have to happen.
A lot of eFootball to cover, but you're quite right, is that when you think Morocco, you think eFootball, you think mobile, most specifically, you do think of Tienes, you do think of those wonderful runs that he made in those tournaments he's been a part of. And certainly would have been almost a standard bearer for the likes of Jalali to follow in those footsteps.
Well, Labobo would love to join those storied names, not only for eFootball Mobile, but also its country. Our Europe and Africa regional winner, hailing from nearby Spain, would do anything to represent this historic club. Has to defend this attack, though, as Christopher Nkunku is now into the box, looking for Jimenez as the target man. Manyan uses an improvised finish to his save there, using his feet. And now there could be a counter on, as Jimenez here for Labobo, through one-on-one, and he tucks it in.
It was interesting in his VT that his goal is simply to play. And play he has, because that is a wonderful goal from Labobo. See it again, beautiful ball over the top. Jimenez is able to hold off the ensuing or the encroaching pressure that came with it, but he was able to coolly tap that one past the goalkeeper.
Well, that is a great counter, and one thing I'm definitely desperate for is a European eFootball Mobile start. We've seen other continents really take that next step. You think of the amount of Brazilian mobile players we have, really impressive. They've had 2 of the last 3 world champions in mobile over there in South America. You think about North Africa, Morocco is a hotbed, the Egyptian players amazing. You think, of course, Southeast Asia, Asia as a whole, Japanese players, Indonesians. We don't really have European players coming to the boil. So it's great to see the young Spaniard here, Labobo, put on a good show and could go from good to great here for him, as Salimaka's over on that far side finds Christopher Nkunku here in the box with a controlled finish, and it is good to great.
Ask and you shall receive, Harry Channon. You have got yourself and talked yourself into having a Spaniard going 2-1 up here.
Labobo on Motherboard. No, we'll edit that out, I think, in post, but he's on the board.
We're live, Harry. We're live.
With a 1-2 punch from 1-0 down. to 2-1 up.
Again, really good work. Just again, just allowing that slight movement, that slight angle to just find that controlled strike that just curls into that bottom corner. The Bobo has himself a 2-1 lead to thank himself for.
5 minutes until half time, and the two that are good friends are leaving it all on the virtual pitch. Here's Jalali though. We saw him in the previous game play out a 3-2 game against Sakti. Oh, it's got all the way through. Nothing Labobo could do about that one. It's a second goal for Rafa Leao. And at the stroke of half-time, with a little bit of fortune sprinkled in, we are all tied up 2-2.
I was going to say, out of all the games that we've seen today and all the goals that we've seen, I think that's the first one that you could say, you know what, you'd feel a bit aggrieved to concede it.
Ugh.
Just deflected off the defender, took it completely away from the goalkeeper. But it won't matter to Jalali. It's got parity again.
Looks like we'll be entering half-time all tied up here.
There will be 3 minutes added time.
The referee's assistant holds up the number 3, so there might be a chance for one last attack. That's what Labobo in the all-white strip here is hoping for. Up to Rafael Leao. He's been a curse against Labobo's house so far this game, but this time offside called. And maybe if the ball can continue forward, we'll see one last attack. But the referee says time for the half. Time to have those tactical switches if you want them. Time to rest. And shortly, time to go again in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, finely balanced is how I would describe this game at the moment, Harry. 2 goals apiece. I'd say relatively tentative in terms of how they're attacking as those goals have gone in. Certainly a lot of respect between these two players, but something's going to have to give in this second half as we look, and they're almost mirroring each other with a 4-4-2.
Can play in your advantage sometimes if you are good friends with your competitors. As the second half is now underway, there has been half-time substitutes. Sometimes you can share tactics, you can, in preparation for an event like this, maybe theory craft against each other. Either way, we are underway in the second half. It's Lejelali in the black and red Rossinieri strip, and Labobo in the all-white, attacking this right-hand goal in the second half. One thing that always impresses me about these eFootball mobile competitors is how skillful they are on the ball. As there is a really nice cross, and a header even better. It is picture perfect, right onto the head of Santiago Jimenez to put Jalali into the lead.
Well, for a moment there, Harry, I thought the goalkeeper had got to that one. Touch was out the proximity of the cross to the goalkeeper. See it again here, the goalkeeper reaches for it, but leap is timed a little bit too late, and Jimenez is able to benefit. And Jalali has himself a lead. Wonderful leap from Jimenez. Loads of hang time.
Yeah, Mike Menyan there perhaps could and should do a little better with that. Very close to getting a piece of it on the way through, but Jalali will not mind. He's back in front, 3-2. And well, Labobo, well, anything you can do, I can do better. It's like they're playing an exhibition match here where it's just two friends practicing against each other, but this is the real thing here at the club event finals. It's 3-3.
I'm not sure if they think it's like a friendly or show match or something like that, but they're almost very much globetrotter football from the pair of these two. Beautiful ball into the box and a very cushioned header from Christian Pulisic. Again, not really known for his area of ability, is the winger. got himself onto the end of that. Goalkeeper wasn't anticipating it. 3-3, we go again.
Well, that is 6 goals in 2 games we've seen from Gilali. But Labobo, not one to be upstaged by his friend, gets an equaliser. It's a 6-goal thriller here with 30 minutes still to play. We're averaging a goal every 10 minutes in this match, Wes, which for mobile standards is absolutely crazy.
I was about to say is that due to how quickly this mobile game goes, having 3 goals apiece is practically unheard of. Ball into the box.
It's another header won by Gilali. This time, the danger is cleared.
Nearly had a 4th.
I mean, what do we chalk this up to here? Is it both players here using offensive formations and tactics? Is it maybe a lack of defensive work?
I think looking at it, I think it's just a case that they're saying, okay, however we play, we're just going to go attack each other, and whoever comes out on top is whoever comes out on top. I think looking at maybe the 1 goal where there was the deflection, outside of that, they've actually been well-worked moves. So I think it's more just been a case of just attacking prowess from both of these players.
Well, 20 minutes left. And these two barely separatable. Will there be perhaps a defining moment of brilliance in the latter stages of our second mobile streamed match here? Jimenez, really nice turn, controlled strike, oh, it's just wide.
Agonisingly close, agonising. But it was this animation here where, yes, Jimenez has shielded the ball, but in that animation, the ball has rolled away from where that optimal, I would say, zone is to take that controlled strike. So the ball has just bobbled a little bit too far away. So when that commander's finally registered, it's a little bit too far wide. And that was a big opportunity there.
Big opportunity indeed, and as we're about 15 minutes away from the 90th minute, obviously we have stoppages still to come. Time now for those weakened legs, if you will, the tired legs to come off, and for some fresh legs to maybe make the impact and make the difference. We're seeing here for, I believe this would be Labobo. We're going to see Christian Pulisic enter the fray, and on the other side, we're going to see some more changes as well, as Gilali, no doubt, Wes will love to push on and try and get those 3 points that would secure him mathematically into the final later on, the mobile final.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see that there's only 1 substitution in place for one of these players and 5 substitutions for the other side of it. But again, it kind of goes at odds with this mobile side of things, is that you replace both your centre midfielders, you replace your forward, you replace what you feel might be the vulnerable side of your defence, and give yourself fresh legs and give yourself the best opportunity to go and take this game away.
Number 31, number 12.
So the final 10 in-game minutes approach us.
Number 14, Modric.
Labobo of Spain, 3. Le Gilali of Morocco,
Number 46, Gabriel.
3. 10 minutes to go. We have action, of course, going on all around our club event finals here. There is a game going on between Sakti and Rentau, and I'm being told there is late drama here as Sakti, against the 2024 world champion, with a double touch followed by the Trivela finish, will secure himself a massive 3 points.
Deep into stoppage time as well, Harry. That is a mammoth goal for the man from Indonesia. Again, great double touch, and Trivela finished back with our main game though. There's opportunity here.
Oh, Christian Pulisic here for Gilali! Well. Surely now that is the straw that breaks the camel's back. There cannot be a reply from Labobo. And if there is, it's going to have to be better than this strike, Wes, because this is fantastic.
Yeah, it's that. You'll see it again here. There was a key pass here. It's that one. Is that Tomori's so far out of position that he can't recover. Hasn't got the legs to recover. Pulisic manages to pull the trigger. It's a wonderful finish. And again, kind of really deep into the kind of troubled waters, as it were. What? Look at the clock there, 89:23. So board hasn't yet gone up for stoppage time, but you would imagine that given how quickly this game moves, mobile, the stoppage time isn't exactly, you know, it's not premium. You don't really get much of it, and you have to do a lot more with it.
You're going to have to throw everything at this kickoff. You have to go full red, surely. You cannot afford to leave any eFootball on the virtual pitch, on the mobile screen here, because you don't want to leave things going into a third round. I mean,
I wonder whose game plan that is, Harry.
I'm going to guess it's maybe Jalali's, considering he's 4-3 up here. But yeah, you can't leave anything on the virtual pitch, otherwise you may need some favours going into the third and final round of group play here at the eFootball Championship 2026 AC Milan finals.
Well, of course, when you do go all-out attack, or full red as it's called within the eFootball community, what you tend to find is that actually it'll send a centre-back forward. So you'll see an auxiliary centre-back that will be in the attacking half, you know, a polar bear in a hot climate, if you will. And as you can see, they're full red engaged.
6 minutes added on as well. So there will be chances. Perhaps not plural, but you'd imagine at least one here for Labobo to get a point and steal one back. Into the feet of Liao. There's rash challenges going in, but the referee says he got ball and man. And sadly, Tamori's let this one bounce. The ball will cross the halfway line, and it will be Jalali in another barn burner match. 4-3 against his good friend Labobo. What a game. Jalali survives and keeps his 100% record here, Wes.
Well, that was definitely one for the neutrals, Harry. Is that if you had no foot in either camp there, that was a wonderful game to showcase you just how good eFootball Mobile can be. 7 goals apiece,
wow.
Last minute winner. It had absolutely everything you could ask for, and it's a real pleasure to see those two go toe-to-toe with one another.
Yeah, let me tell you, it's not often we see 7 goals in a game, in a match of eFootball Mobile. Just purely based on how quickly that timer will get away from you. But starting in just the 4th minute of play, the next 86 minutes were much of the same. Both Labobo and Jalali just going at each other, hammer and tongs. It was swinging back and forth like a pendulum.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it took, you know, the fact that it was a 26-minute in-game gap between first goal and second does just go to show you just how many goals were scored in quick succession at the tail end of the first half and into the second half.
Yeah, this was the second for Labobo after trailing early on. It went from good to great for him, and Kunku with that really nice finessed finish into the bottom corner. Very controlled indeed. We'll see it again here. Just had so much time, arguably too much time and space, and I think Jalali recognised that later on. As then we saw a big gift to level the playing field. Jalali getting that deflected goal just before half-time.
Yeah, that's the one that, like you said, you would... It's certainly defined as a gift, but it's more so a case that you just wouldn't want to concede it. But this one here, like I say, it had my eyes completely crossed, because I thought that had gone into the keeper's hands and it would have been back the other way. Instead, Jimenez outleaps the goalkeeper. We'll see it again in slow-mo here. Lofted over the goalkeeper's outstretched left hand into the head of Jimenez. And again, we thought that was it.
Man, never one to be outdone by his friend. He said, oh, heading goals. We're doing heading goals, fair enough. Yeah, that's what I can do as well. Just before the hour mark, it tied us up once again. It was 1-1, then 2-1, then 2-2. Then tied up 3-3 up to the 90th minute. And there is the American dagger, Christian Pulisic, with quite the finish to secure. That's 6 points now on the board for Jalali. What a game of eFootball Mobile we just saw. And I think you're our good luck charm, because we're seeing amazing goals here at the cup finals.
So I'm honored to be. But I want to take a look at the stats of the match, guys. Jalali, Labobo, they are so young and so hungry.
Yeah, so young and hungry indeed. I mean, 10 shots between the two of them. It's so rare. I mean, we're talking like 10-minute games we're seeing here. So it's a chance, and strong chances as well. fashioned every 10 or so in-game minutes. It's not often you see that, Wes, and we saw an amazing game between those two.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't see that type of game plan either. I mean, you look at the amount of passes, the amount that were successful. Got 8% difference in terms of success of passes. So it just about edged its way to Jalili, and he'll be happy enough that he just got out of that one unscathed, because could have been a banana skin had he drawn that game, would have maybe left himself some work to do.
How important was this match, guys?
I think it's very important definitely for Jalali. He can now enter the final round of matches. He still has to play the world champion of 2 years ago, knowing that if he loses, obviously he won't try to, but if that is his fate, it doesn't really matter too much, because he has 6 points on the board as things stand, as we're seeing here. He's guaranteed to be in that final later on, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you go into it with that confidence, much like we saw in console, a foot easy to saying, well, if I win, great. If I lose, it's not the end of the world. I know that I'm going to be there. But then again, I mean, in terms of goal differences and things of that nature, you never want to leave it up to chance. But again, looking at, I mean, the real surprise there for me is Rentau. Wow, being rock bottom of the group, no points, no wins on the board. That's very surprising to me.
And with the ranking on the screens for the mobile platform category, who is your favorite now?
Oh, well.
At the moment.
Entering today, it would have been Rentau.
I was going to say, have you got any room on your bandwagon? Because I might need to jump on it.
It's really difficult, because now we're looking into the final round of fixtures. It's going to be Labobo versus Sakti, and they're both on 3 points. So whoever
winner take all
wins that one, as you said, there will be all to play for. I don't know which of those two I would choose to edge out that game.
Do you know what? I might go against my own grain here. I think that maybe Labobo might just sneak it against Sakti.
Youth versus experience.
Yes, of course. So for you?
I'll go Sakti. Come on.
Just for the contrary.
just to be a contrarian. No, I mean, Sakti has been here before, and as good as we've seen Labobo play, based on my calculations I'm doing in my head, he must have beaten Rentau. So that's a big scalp to take at just 17 years of age. I think Sakti knows what it takes to get over the line this time around, and I think we'll see some experience just shine through. So I'll go with Sakti, but obviously we'll have to keep an eye on the group tables.
Thank you, guys. Let's not wait any longer to witness the last match of the group stage for the mobile platform between the Moroccan and the eFootball Championship World Champion in 2024. Lezilali versus Rentau.
Eu sou Renato Barros Graciano, conhecido como Rentão, e chegar à final do Milan é muito importante para mim. É um time que eu gosto muito, tenho muita paixão pelo Milan desde criança, então eu tenho um objetivo muito grande de vencer esse torneio do Milan. Eu acho que o confronto mais difícil vai ser contra o indonésio, o Sadik, ele é um amigo meu, sei como ele joga, né, que ele gosta de jogar ali mais no contra-ataque. Eu acho que vai ser um jogo difícil pelo fato da conexão, mas eu acredito que a gente vai conseguir fazer um bom jogo contra ele. A minha estratégia é tentar vencer ali os 2 primeiros jogos, né? O terceiro ali um pouquinho mais relaxado, para já se preparar ali, caso tenha oportunidade, né, para uma final. Então eu acredito aí que eu tô bem, tô conseguindo jogar bem com o time do Milan, gostei bastante, então acho que vai dar tudo certo. Eu tô muito confiante que eu vou conseguir ganhar esse evento. Pode acontecer de infelizmente não acontecer, mas eu tô muito confiante. Eu sei que o time do Milan é muito bom, muito forte, me adaptei bem ao time e eu acredito que eu vou conseguir chegar ali entre os finalistas. Eu quero buscar esse título e tem que ser assim, tem que ser sempre ter aquela forma de ganhar, ter aquela forma de conseguir querer mais, e eu cheguei naquele momento que eu quero me desafiar. Quero ser bicampeão mundial e com certeza eu vou buscar esse objetivo.
Well, we just heard from him there, the 2024 Mobile World Champion. Would have loved to enter this round of fixtures, Wes, with a chance, and he said there even being comfortably securing his place, having secured his place in the grand final later on. Sadly, not the case here. He is mathematically eliminated. There's no way for him to prepare for that final later on. Gilali, his opponent here, can, however, and he's been scoring really quick goals early on in matches so far, and he looks to try and get another one here, but cannot complete the three-peat of 4-minute goals.
He's a fast starter, is the man from Morocco. But yeah, if you are Rentao, a former world champion, you'd be bitterly disappointed that things just haven't gone your way today. Maybe he can give himself and his fans something to shout about this game here. Of course, we'll keep a close eye as well. I'm sure our production team will on the other game that is going on, but this is the one we have on screen at the moment. And this Rentao with the ball, Harry.
Yeah, he's in the all-white strip here of AC Milan. Gilali is comfortably in the grand final later on. As for Rentao, he's playing for pride at this point, wants to prove to the world that he can make it back there. He can make it back to the World Finals. It's been a long time since July 2024. In Ginza, the creative centre, home of Konami, home of eFootball, that he lifted that trophy. What came with it was the fame, the fortune, the award shows that Rentao was honoured with. And well, he wants to get on the board here. In the first 15 minutes, it will come off him last. So sadly, no second chance, but it will feel like a lifetime ago that he was experiencing the glitz and the glamour that came with the world title. Last year, we saw him at the Manchester United club event, and, well, he was out in the group stages there. That was in April of this year. He's been very, very difficult to keep tabs on, Rentao. As we said, he's had a bit of a slow year, but we can see the other match going on at this moment in time as Sakti versus Labobo. And it's the young Spaniard here, Wes, that strikes first blood.
That's a huge goal for Labobo.
And elsewhere in our featured match, we have the man who those two are fighting to get the chance to rematch against, who has a really strong chance.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's certainly asking a lot of the questions of Rentao's defence at the moment. As it stands, which is a phrase I love when it comes to esports, because so many things can change. And as it stands, it'll be Gilali versus Labobo, friends reunited in the mobile final.
Gilali's corner denied. It'll be another Moroccan mobile player in another club event finals. We've seen that story play out time and time again in the past. Luka Modric here for Rentao. Of course, this is the first club event finals of the season. No doubt we'll be seeing more of Rentao, and I hope so. Salimakers for him. Stood up towards... Well, it's Christian Pulisic. I was going to say Salamakers, but he left it for the man who eventually scores the goal. Rentao on the board.
I think that caught Gilali out as well. See it back on the replay again. Like you said, it looked like it was heading the way of Salamakers. Instead, dropped to the feet of Christian Pulisic. And again, the composure of Rentao to, again, readjust, find your surroundings, understand where you are in that game. Again, took his time to put the ball in, floated over the head, instead came to Pulisic, has that open opportunity, has that open shot. From that type of distance, he's not going to miss from there, Harry.
No, he's not. Nothing Gilali could do about that. Tried to pressure. Tried to get a tackle in, but by the time he realised what was happening, Pulisic put the ball in the back of the net.
Rentao
on the board. Surely will be a defining season for him.
Stranger Things সিরিজটা শুরু করছে না এই জন্য দেখতেছি এখন
World champion. Obviously a year between his two titles, so not technically back to
Kill
back, but
it,
definitely would be the
knock
first
diya,
two-time champion, and he's through here again, and that is a neat finish. It's a 1-2 punch. Rentao 2, Jalali 0.
I think Rentao will be asking himself, as well as his fans will be asking, where has this version of Rentao been? He had a wonderful bit of play. He's got himself a 2-0 lead here. Of course, Jalali can't be caught, and of course, because the two players that are sandwiched in between Rentao and Jalali are both playing against one another, doesn't matter.
Exclamation mark Autonomous has joined the channel.
He won't be able to unseat them both.
Well, there has been action in the other game. Labobo 1-0. Now Labobo 2-0 over Sakti.
So, fine by.
Oh, we look here. And Jalali's goal. Perfectly timed by our production team here. In our other game, it's youth beating experience 2-0, whereas Jalali here has one back.
বিজয় ভাই বাইরে
PC
তো গেম খেলতেছে
তার ভাই এখন পিসি চালায়
না তার ভাই তো আগেতে মানে খেলতো আর কি টুকটুক খেলতো এফএফ খেলে
এফএফ ফিফা খেলে
না না ফ্রি ফায়ার
ও
অনেক আগেতেই খেলতো এই টুকটাক উনি খেলতেছে এই যে ওঠে দেন না অ্যাক্টিভিটি ওই উঠলেই বুঝতে পারবেন কিটা
AC Milan group stages are 45 minutes away from being in the books and finding our grand finalists and then our eventual champions across both mobile and console. It's so exciting. It's an exciting time in the season, Wes, because although we don't know where the ticket will be written down to, we still will have our first two players booking their spots at the World Championships in the summer.
Yeah, there's a lot of credence and a lot of kind of almost pageantry that goes with it. Say, do you know what? I'm the first player to get there. I'm the first player. It doesn't matter where in the world it's going to be, but I know that I'm going. And there is a kind of a prestige that goes with it. And certainly to represent Rossinieri. I mean, you know, looking at the players that they have at their disposal, of course, not to mention if there's any signings during the real world season that could impact squads going further forward. There's so many different kind of almost wrinkles and, you know, the butterfly effect of what could happen. But at the moment, we are pretty set on what we think is going to happen because in the other game, we know who
Calvin will
be facing.
कौन अपनी कोंटे ढोकबेन?
Indeed we do. Rentao in possession here as he kicks off the
আপনি ডিসাইড করেন রায়ান ভাই আপনি
তিনজন তো আমরা
He leads Jalali 2-1. Jalali chasing this game would not like to enter that final later on with a dip in form. And Kunku shields the ball nicely. Here he is again, near side. Nice little super cancel there as well.
নাকি বিজয় ভাই আসলে খেলবেন
বিজয় ভাই থাকলে তো হইতো মাল তো নাই তাহলে চারজন হইতো না 2v2 কি সেটটা যাইতো
relieve some of the pressure play out from the back here on the hour mark.
Yeah, again, just turn the kind of pressure gauge off as managed to get a decent chest there. Rolls it
with the rest of those who killed Hadi. The killers are currently in India. Hadi was known for his anti-India stance. I urge the government to take immediate and appropriate steps to arrest those.
It is now Rentao 3, Jalali 1, and there might just be a dip in form. Look at this, the vision to play that pass through. It's glimpses of the old Rentao we saw in Ginza back in, well, it was July 2024. It was a long, long time ago.
সবাই ভাই 5-6টা মাইরে অলিভার পাচ্ছে এই বিডাও পাইছে এই সজীব ভাই পাইছে তাও মাম্বা ভাইও পাইছে 5টা মাইরে
5টা করে মারছে না
মানে একসাথে মাইরে সজীব ভাই দেন স্ক্রিনশট দিছে সার্ভার মাম্বা ভাই গুলো একসাথে মারছে
একসাথে বলতে
মানে যে কয়টা পাইছিল আর কি সব জমা এই সপ্তাহে যতগুলো পাইছিল
আপনি কয়টা পাইছেন
আমি ওই যে 6টাই তো হিসাবে 6টা এই
মারেন নাই
বাইরে দিছি পাই নাই কিছু
কয়টা একসাথে মারছেন
না না সিঙ্গেল করে বিজয় ভাইয়ের সামনে মারছে সিঙ্গেল করে পাইনি হেও আমার সামনে মারছে পাইনি
সবগুলো আইডিতে মারছেন
ওইটাই শুধু বাকি আছে মিশন কয়েকটা 2-3টা বাকি আছে আর মনে হয় সেকেন্ডাই 4টে মনে হয় 3-4টে হয়েছে ওইটাও সিঙ্গেল মারিছে তা পাইনি আসেন করবে ও ভালো মিশন করি আসেন অত খেয়াল নেই করবেন মিশন করবেন আমার ওইটা বাকি আছে আর কয়েকটা
আসেন মিশন করি
আর খেয়াল
ইনভাইট দেন আমাদের
denying himself the opportunity, as it were, to follow in his countrymen's footsteps and make it back-to-back.
এই আজকে সপ্তাহটাই মাইরে দেব সব বুঝছেন এটা প্ল্যানিং করছি পরে যেগুলো পাবো ওইগুলো না 10-10 করে মারলাম নাকি কোনটা করলে ভালো হবে কোন তো 21টা পাবো আর হাইয়েস্ট
কয়টা পাইছেন এখন
মানে এই সপ্তাহে তো 6টা দেবে ওই সেকেন্ড আইডি তার 3 না 4টা বাকি ওরকমই আর মানে দেখতে হবে দাঁড়ান তো পরে যদি এই সপ্তাহ ধরেন সব মাইরে দিই তাহলে পরে হাইয়েস্ট গেলে 21টা পাবো এই 21টা কি করব নাকি এই কয়টাও জমাবো সিঙ্গেল মারা ভালো নাকি
না আমার মতে সব জমায় মারা বেটার
একসাথে যে কয়টি পাই
হ্যাঁ
সব
জমান একবারে আমি তো একবারে জমায় মারবো 10টা মারবো না একবারে জমায় মারবো 20টা মারবো একবারে
না আপনার সিঙ্গেল মারছেন তো আমি একটু মাইরে দেখলাম যে একটু পাওয়া যায় মানে ইউটিউব বা ফেসবুকেও দেখছি
সিঙ্গেল তো একটা পাইছিলাম ফার্স্টে এইজন্য মারছি
আচ্ছা দাঁড়ান আমি দেই আর কয়টা পাবো
for his second world title considering how young eFootball Mobile is as an esport
একটা দুইটা তিনটা পাবো মিশনে
তিনটা
সেকেন্ড আইডিতে মানে এই উইকে
দেখেন এখন আপনার জমায় মারেন অথবা
জমায় মারি কারণ ভাই সিঙ্গেল দে তো ট্রান্স পার্সেন্টেজও কম লাখ একদম ভালো নলি দেবে না রিস্ক নেব না আর আপনারা তো অ্যাক্টিভ দেয় অফ এটা অ্যাড নেই আপনি
না আপনি কোড বলেন
1575 69 20
আমি ম্যাচ স্টার্ট দেবো আমার একটু বললেন আমি আচ্ছা হলো না কেন 1575 65 20 না ও না
69 20 ম্যাচ স্টার্ট হইলে ঠিক আছে
গোল্ডেন গোল সিলেক্ট করছেন
দাঁড়ান ভালো কথা কইছেন নিশ্চিরে খেয়ালই নেই আমার ক্যান্সেল দিয়ে দিছি তাড়াতাড়ি হইবো ওই তো স্টার্ট হয়ে গেছে বলে
না আরে
এত ফাস্ট এমনি সময় হয় না এমন হইছে আপনি কোন সাথে সাথে ক্যান্সেল দিছি তারপরও
বের হইতে হবে
5 minutes to go. Modric to the feet of Rabiot.
Pulisic has
broken the lines here, but that is Manyan down smartly. The Milan captain called into action.
Then start then.
আপনারা তো কিবোর্ড চাপেন এই জন্য তাড়াতাড়ি আপনাদের রেডি হয়ে যায়
ইন্টারটিভি
আমার
Another
তো
match
গেম
will know
প্যাডে
that
জোরে
they
চাপ দিতেও খারাপ
they
লাগে
have a
কারণ গেম
fighting
প্যাডের তো
chance.
বুঝেনি ফিজিক্যাল
বইসে যায় বাটন
Really nice
ঝামেলা
swat,
আছে
Rabiot,
এটা
and
এটা
his
ঠিক
touch lets him down at the vital
জন্য
moment.
অত প্রেশার
অনেক
থাকে
সেনসিটিভ না বাটন গুলো
It does, but again, the game in truth is pretty
কই
much
বেরোয়
done
যান
and dusted.
বেরোবো এই পজ দেওয়া যাচ্ছে না তো
So
আগেই
maybe
বের করি
additional
বাইরে বল
consolation from Jalali.
May well be as Pulisic tries to run down the channel there, but you can see it's just ticked over to the 93rd minute. And I don't think the referee will entertain many more chances. It will end Rentau
কই
4,
আমি ই দিলাম তো হয় না কে
Jalali 1.
হ্যাঁ
And despite him being eliminated,
Oh,
Rentau
loading
goes
আছে
out swinging, proving to the world that he
Listen,
still
আপনি আমার
has
আগে
what it
দিছেন তো
takes
তাইলে
to
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
take down
Now with a quick request for
some of the
support
heavy
from our
hitters
World
at this
Charity
stage of the competition. Just got going a little bit too late on in the grand scheme of the AC Milan group stages though, and we will say goodbye to him here. We wait and see who will be facing off against Jalali a little bit later on in the final.
Yeah, I mean, overall, the performance that we saw here was Rentau old, you know, to put it in a box, so to speak. It was the performance that we expected of him, or the level that we saw of him. He had a really well taken goal to give himself a goal lead. Again, the kind of almost the story for him at the end of this will be, that's what you and your fans will want to see from you going forward. That's the version of you, not to 2 defeats. We want to see this Rentau. We want to see this fire-breathing dragon come to the fore.
Must be really difficult for him psychologically to watch his countrymen have such success elsewhere, both in international competition as well as domestic competition. You saw Juninho 152 days ago to the day become mobile world champion, and of course has gone on to do great things since then. It must be so difficult for him to continue to chase those old dreams, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in terms of Brazil, in terms of their esports athletes, they're well known. We know the likes of Guifera, we know the likes of Henriquinho, we know the Juninho, we know those players, we know Rentau. In all fairness, it's just unfortunate that he's not been able to match what he felt was going to be his level coming into this today, and instead it's kind of just fell by the wayside with a bit of a whimper. But like I said, 4-1 victory, fantastic for him to at least see off and just have a bit of something to carry through.
There is the 4th of his 4 goals scored, but we say goodbye to him here. Rentau wins against Jalali, 4 goals to 1, but we have to say goodbye to the 2024 world champion here in the group stages, Anna, as his tournament is over.
Yes, I was watching on the screen because I love how players celebrate their goals. So I was watching the highlights, but I just want to add something. The match that we witnessed just now was between the champion and the newcomer. Maybe one of the most fascinating things of the tournament, no?
Yeah, definitely almost a changing of the guard, dare I say. I mean, there's not too much age difference between the two, but in terms of the accolades, it's definitely that feather in the cap of that World Championship win. As we said before, it's been such a long time since Rentau won 2-0 against Gu in the final of the 2024 World Finals in Ginza. It's difficult for him to recapture that old glory.
Yeah, and that's the key bit is can you pick yourself up, can you go again, and you know, as a defeat, or at least being eliminated in the group stage here, can you pick yourself up and go again to future club events? I'm sure, you know, as an esports fan, I'm sure he will look to try and go again. I won't be surprised if you see him on future club events, but for this one, he's out of the running.
Let's look at the standings, guys, because we have to discuss about this first part of finals before the grand finals, of course.
Wow, there we go. Must be confirmation that Labobo did end the game against Sakti with a win. And in actual fact, thanks to that heavy defeat we just saw to Jalali, Labobo will finish top. Now, topping the group doesn't really do anything to change how things operate in the final. We already knew Jalali was there, but psychologically, and that's a big part of this game, it will do Lobobo, the 17-year-old from Spain, a world of good.
Absolutely. If your objective was simply to come and play, that's what his BT, that's what his interview said. He's like, look, I'm 17 years old, I just want to come and play. You've come and just to play, but you've also found yourself at the top of a group, which should give you every bit of confidence coming into the final.
Yeah, is he here to take part or is he here to take over? That's what we'll find out a little bit later on.
Yes, Harry, and so we are close to the first grand final of the day for the console category, so we will announce the finalists.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a while since we've seen the group stage play across console, but in the end, we can see how they got here. Footeasy and Zelo are the two survivors of that absolute gauntlet down there in the group stage of console wares, and they now are about to play out an amazing, no doubt amazing final for the chance to represent the Rossinieri.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as Footeasy mentioned before, he's had his run-ins with Zelo once upon a time or two, and, you know, again, that's a slightly different format. When you're mano-a-mano, it's a little bit different when it's heads-up eFootball. And of course, you know, one game shootout, it can go to extra time, it can go to dreaded penalties. I hate to bring that up because a lot of what we said today is magically manifested. I don't like to bring it up, but it could go that far. And I think between these two, it might just.
You are not surprised about the ranking, no?
I may be surprised that Zelo wasn't further up, but I anticipated maybe these two. I know I said Takiman earlier, but to be honest, Zelo, Footeasy, the names that when I see them, I think these guys have been here before. I've seen them play finals, I've seen them go deep in tournaments. I kind of expect them to get to this point, so maybe not a massive surprise, but I always like to see upsets in these club events, Anna, and we haven't seen too many so far, aside from the mobile side.
If you have to choose one emotion to describe today's finals.
Passion, is that an emotion? I don't think it is it? Intensity.
Intensity.
Yeah. I don't think that's an emotion either, but I've given two wrong answers now. I've got to stick with one of them.
I think I would say my one is, at least for mobile, is confusion. That's my emotion. I'm slightly confused because the two players you would have, on paper, expected to make the final are in third and fourth. You've got two relatively brand new kind of stars for Morocco and for Spain. You know, I know you mentioned in commentary that, you know, European eFootball mobile players, they're a relatively short supply. They're a little bit like the magical unicorn you can't catch. I'm very surprised to see them, and I think on the other side of it, it's just like you said, it's going to be passion, it's going to be carnage, it's going to be chaos. And I'm very excited is my emotion for the
maybe
excited
yes,
a good one.
Maybe yes. So guys, let's look together. Anyone time to the standings to announce the grand final, the first grand final of the day for the console category. Just look at the standings. Okay. Here we are. So for the console grand finals, we will see the match between Footeasy 10 and Zelo.
Yes, thank you very much, Anna. It's a real honour to be here to kick off the eFootball Championship 2026 season. We are moments away from kickoff, Wes, in the console grand final. We're about to send one player to the eFootball World Finals in 2026.
Oh, there's nothing to separate them either. In terms of expectation, there is absolutely nothing to separate these two, but settle in, folks. This is going to be a good one.
Indeed, and they're going at each other straight away. It's Footeasy wants to do his best to score first. Jimenez almost being the one to open the scoring here in the first 5 minutes of the game. He's won himself a corner here, Footeasy. He has really done himself proud in the group stages. He has bested everyone thus far. It'll be another corner as well following the opening play here. As for Zilo, he's had dices with death at times in this group. Has to defend the corner early on towards Jimenez. And Fatizi with the Modric strike will force that save. It's really, really nice opening passages of play here by the Brazilian Fatizi. And Zilo, he's well and truly on the ropes. And he's giving the ball away, is he, in his own half. Finally, it's cleared.
Sometimes, Harry, you've just got to do the basics. Get it clear of that 18-yard box. Get it clear of the opportunities for your opponent to do damage.
Ah, Leao into the box. Pavlovic that time is able to get things away. And now Zilo in that changed strip with the red cursor. Zilo of Poland by way of Glasgow, Scotland. Would be one heck of a week he's had if he's able to win this one.
Tell you what, go down as an all-timer of eSport weeks. Winning an event with alongside your brother and then coming to represent AC Milan, it would be a very, very good week in the Zilo household.
It's a big relief as well when you're one of the first competitors to cross the line, book your place at the World Finals. You can put your feet up for the rest of the season. That's what both of these men are challenging and fighting for and tussling for. Fatizi's not giving this one up just yet. There's Pulisic, and there's the first goal. He was asking the question time and time again, and the pressure is rewarded. Fatizi is up 1-0 here in the final.
Advantage Brazil. What, and again, we talk about moments and about being cold in those moments. Watch this passage of play again here. If I said to you, Harry, when this ball comes back to Rafael, what are you going to do? You're probably going to spam a shoot button. No. Instead, smart enough to check that right-hand side. It's a great angler here. Defender gets drawn in, left brilliantly unattended for foot easy. And it is advantage to him. He's 1 goal ahead already in this console grand final.
Fatizi 1, Zilo 0. He's well and truly woken up in this console final. I think he's about 4 hours behind the time in Milan at this moment, Fatizi, but he is awake, he's alive, he's kicking. And Zilo has been quelled every time he's tried to venture forward. He's been pinned back in his own half in the opening 20 minutes. Perhaps just needs to relax and know the game will come to him here eventually, Wes. And right on cue, Nkunku down that far side. Who can he find in the middle? There's 2 white shirts at the far post. Neither head is on it. And it's cleared away. First real attack of the game there for Zilo. Quickly followed by this one. Leao to Nkunku. Jimenez, which way will he go? Tomori sent the wrong way, but he has help, and it's cleared by Fatizi.
Good defensive work there by the Brazilian. And just allowing himself to get turned, but gave him the opportunity to get that additional defender in instead. Got possession of the ball back here.
He's already 1-0 to the good. The man who has won a club event finals previously. Has to defend here though, Pulisic. Nice super cancel there by Zilo into the box, double touch, trying to just make a bit of room for that strike. But beat Uzmakabil on penalties at the 2024 Barcelona club event, did Fatizi. It's been a long time since then. That was in February of 2024, almost 2 years ago. He's through here though. Rafael against Magnan. Took a little bit of time. Might come back to him here. Just rushed the second chance, Wes.
Yeah, it was a fortunate chance, but it was a big chance for Fatizi. Tried the drag back, tried to undo the manual goalkeeping of Zilo. We've seen so much of that over the years as it's been watching Zelo play at this level. Tried to unseat the manual goalkeeper, didn't work on that occasion, but able to advance again here for Easy.
He's on thin ice. Zelo can't afford to concede another with half-time on the horizon. Santiago Jimenez for him. Manages to get it around the corner to Liao, but it's been a difficult game in the first half here for Zelo. Fatizzi with, again, just sensing that half-time approaching, just wants to maintain possession here, probably thinking where's about the last attack of the half. But instead we'll try and go centrally. See how many minutes are added on here. The ball stayed in play a decent amount of time, so only 1 minute remaining here. Fatizzi 1, Zelo 0. And Jimenez, he's venturing forward. Could be a second goal here at the end of the first half. As Liao was waiting, the ball does not reach him, and the first half of our grand finals ends. Fatizzi 1, Zelo 0.
It's been tight, it's been cagey, it's been everything we would expect it to be from a console grand final between these two. Again, margins were very fine in that group stage game where Fatizzi came out with a 2-1 victory.
If memory serves, Zelo went ahead in that game, and it was Fatizzi who brought it back. So Zelo may be hoping for a mirror image maybe in this grand final as we're just perusing some of the tactics here at half-time. Would we expect maybe any changes from either side?
Well, I think for Zelo, I think he's got to look at it, because the interesting stat line there was no shots at all from Zelo. Certainly going to have to change that one.
It's uncharacteristic from the 19-year-old Pole who kicks us off here in the second half. He is in the all-white AC Milan strip. The black and red for Fatizzi, who, as things stand, would be crowned the AC Milan Club Event Champion for eFootball console. Zelo, though, starting to build now. He knows he has to chase this game. He would have been looking at that number 0 next to the shots in the first half, and that would have angered him. He knows he has to test the goalkeeper here. Really nice build up through the middle. Rabiot into the feet of Jimenez. Just trying to win a duel somewhere. Really patient here from Zelo, but Fasil is able to win the ball back, and the referee's brought this one back for a late challenge. A yellow card shown.
Yeah, a little bit of desperation from Zelo there, just trying to get that ball back in transition. A little bit late to get in there, and she's picked up a booking as a result. And the place right into the hands of Fatizzi, because, like you said, he can sit back, keep the ball, he can just starve the game out if he really wanted to, but knowing the Brazilian's flair, he'll want to finish with a flourish.
Yeah, Bruno Mota da Silva, 24 years old, our America's winner. A Brazilian champion in the past as well, is about to go 2-0 up. He is 2 goals clear of his finals opponent, Zelo. And are we seeing Fatizzi with 1 foot in the eFootball Championship finals next summer?
It's a very big step towards that goal. Again, sometimes when you are in these scenarios, when you're 1-0 ahead, you could sometimes almost bait your opponent onto just giving you too much time, giving you too much rhythm, allowing you to build up. And he just picked the right moment, even with the manual goalkeeping shift from Zelo, wasn't enough to stop that strike from layout. Fatizzi, 2 goals to 0 ahead with, by my reckoning, around about 60 in-game minutes on the clock. And you can see their confirmation, 58th minute. It is going to need something massive from Zelo.
Indeed it will, and it doesn't seem to be coming his way. And this is somewhat uncharted territory for Fertizi in this competition. We'll see if Zelo can make something happen from this attack. Before I bring up the pass, and well, he does so. It's a thunderbolt from Leao. And Zelo just reminding us, first of all, that I shouldn't tell anecdotes about players, but second of all, that he's still alive here in this final.
Sometimes, Harry, as we said, it is sticking to the basics. See it again here. He has all the time in the world to take this strike. And sometimes it's just taking what the game presents to you. What position do you get into? What do you need to execute in that moment? You see there, he's got all the time in the world to pick his spot and to drive that one at the goalkeeper. And now it becomes an interesting little chess game between these two.
Well, I was about to say Fertizi is not used to plain sailing in the 2022 eFootball Championship. He was the winner of the Open. He beat Saif Al-Hakka on penalties in the final. And in that club event that we mentioned earlier, the 2024 Barcelona club event, he went all the way to penalties with Uz Makabil, winning 5-4 on penalties then. Clearly a glutton for punishment, Fertizi, as he's conceded and made this last 25 in-game minutes a little bit more nervy than he would have liked.
Certainly touchy at this point, but might have an opportunity here. If he can get past the defender, he can't. But you're quite right. He's made a real rod for his own back here.
Can Zelo grow in confidence and really ask questions of the defence here, as there's a nice turn, is there? Fertizi just surviving here. Zelo really starting to find his footing and find his form here in the final. Fertizi just pinned back in his own half. Leao there trying to be a cat amongst pigeons. 15 minutes left, plus stoppages. As it stands, Fertizi would be our champion. But Zelo does not want to go quietly. Here comes Fertizi, trying to find, oh, that's risky. Leao waiting and lurking. Strong challenge will just delay the inevitable possession here of Zelo.
Yeah, with that clock ticking down, he's going to have to go to the well and find something here, Zelo, if he wants any shout of being in, taking this into the deep waters.
Rabiot, Rafa Leao, nice footwork, just waiting for him to pull the trigger. Might get a second chance here, but there's just a bit of indecisiveness, you feel, maybe, Wes, of Zelo in the final third.
Yeah, there was an opportunity there to play it down to Nkunku. Didn't utilise it. There is a pause in here, which means that we've got a little bit of something to maybe mull over here.
Yeah, we're no doubt going to see maybe caution thrown to the wind here for Zelo, because he is trailing. We're in the latter stages of the match. We'll no doubt see him go for glory.
I think so. I think we'll look at it, and I think there's certainly those changes in shape that are available to him. Certainly looks to be pushing out his defenders, come out a little bit more from the back, but see what he's up against.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's a great wall.
I was going to say, Fertizi has took out all the cement, put all the bricks together and gone, right, how do you want to try and get past me?
Best of luck to you. We are going to see some stalwart defending from Fertizi. It's not pretty, but there's an art to it, you could argue, Wes. There is an art to defending like that.
Very much the dark arts, as it is, Harry. Is that yeah, you're quite right. You just want to make it as hard for your opponent as possible, especially when you know you are minutes or in-game minutes away from making and booking your ticket to a world final to represent AC Milan. But we've seen it before, though. You go defensive too early, or you go too defensive, you leave yourself open to players being able to really perform.
Let's see if Zelo can put on that performance. It's been a really gritty affair here in the grand final of our first club event finals of the season. And we're in for a blockbuster finish. Zelo's won the ball back. That's a really nice double touch, but the shot is blocked. No recycle opportunity either. There will be a corner. Who's the target? Looks like towards Jimenez. Can't win that header, but there is no way out here for Footeasy. He is defending for his life. Full blue in the bottom right, fully defensive. Zelo still unbalanced, which is very interesting indeed. Perhaps not wanting to leave himself susceptible. Salemakers. Back to Ricci. Just going to be patient here. 89th minute, now 90th. That's a really nice cutting through the lines. Is Jimenez there for the header? It's a 90th minute equaliser. Zelo trusted his patience, Wes. And it's now Footeasy 2, Zelo 2.
Zelo just whipped out the bulldozer and drove a truck right through that great wall that was built by Footeasy 10. You saw the patience, you saw the work down that channel. It's a wonderful ball. And Jimenez again. Wonderful leap from him. Right when he needed him. Zelo goes back to the well, back to the player that has dealt with him so well throughout these club finals so far. And we're now staring down the barrel of potentially extra time here, Harry. But interestingly, and this is my point for Footeasy, you've now gone that defensive. How do you break out that shell?
We'll see the goal again here that keeps Zelo's dream alive for the Wonder Week. We'll put it that way. It could be, as you mentioned, an all-timer. Having won a competition last weekend for Poland, a real underdog story alongside his brother in the 2 versus 2 format. Here he is in 1 versus 1 against one of the best players in Brazil, Footeasy, coming back to equalise in the 90th minute. Cinderella stuff, it's fairy tale stuff.
It is, especially when you saw how close it was to going the other way. You saw how close it was for Zelo to potentially, game ticks over. We've seen, goalkeepers come up with incredible saves, last-minute drama, all of those things. Instead, he found the right player at the right place at the right time. That is a skill that it's almost an intangible. Like, we speak about the items on the pitch. We speak about the things that happen in the game. But there's intangibles like mentality, personality, perseverance, patience, all of those things that wrap themselves up into what is an eFootball player. Certainly, Zelo showcased all of those and then some with that last-minute equaliser.
Full trust in his own ability, our Europe and Africa regional winner. That is going to set us up really nicely for more action still to come. And our youngest console player in the finals, by the way. Just
throwing that in there.
Full of experience, 19 years of age. And he has pulled out something miraculous to keep his dream of representing AC Milan alive. Zelo, take a bow as we enter the latter stages of the 90 minutes here. 4 minutes added on, so maybe one last attack here for either player in our final.
Maybe. Could there be even more drama? Ball goes long down the field, but I feel like, Harry, we might be steering ourselves towards extra time, which, again, if you've already spurned all of your substitutes, that in itself is a problem. Because you can't put fresh legs on, you're not able to reinvent your team, but there's still time on the clock here, but negotiate back to the goalkeeper, and we are heading for extra time.
Certainly does look that way, doesn't it? full-time whistle. Zelo 2, Foot Easy 2. Thanks to a 90th minute equaliser by Zelo, we are heading towards extra time. Wow, I mean, what a incredible 90 minutes we saw. It's only fitting in our first club event finals of the season, Wes, that we get ourselves a grandstand finish between two great competitors who've been fighting all day long.
Yeah, I mean, in the group stage, it was a late goal that was the undoing of Zelo. Now it is the lifeline, if you will, of Zelo, is that he's able to get himself now into an extra time period. Again, what does that do to the psyche of Foot Easy? Like, you know, again, you're on the hill, you're near enough there, and with 8 minutes to go, you bank on, you know, we jokingly said about building a wall. You've jokingly parked the bus, but then someone has just came along and just said, nope, not going to happen, not on my watch. And now you've got to come out of that mentality. You've also got to maybe put to bed the idea that you had this game sewn up. You very quickly you're going to have to readjust, and maybe a mental timeout. You know, even if you're making a pause that isn't quite a pause for game plan reasons, just having a minute just to compose yourself.
Well, perhaps that's what they're doing here, as 2 minutes of, or I should say 2 15-minute periods of extra time wait us after the conclusion of the stoppage at full time. And then if they're tied at the end of those 2 periods, Wes, we'll see a penalty shootout, which Foot Easy is no stranger to at all. Mentioned before, in 2024, beating us Maccabeal 5-4 on penalties. It was as close as you like there. Neither men were prepared to flinch or relinquish anything. No doubt we'll see that again if it gets there, but we're now underway. Extra time between Foot Easy and Zelo. Who will become the champion? Has to be one of the two. Foot Easy with some nice footwork attacking his right-hand goal in the first period of extra time.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive first period here between these two.
Oh, Foot Easy with the first chance! And the Brazilian scores first! It's the man who came from the depth of the benches, the 19-year-old Dutchman. Foot Easy will be singing his praises if he is able to see out this result.
Yeah, it might become his most famous Dutchman in Brazil after this one, because it's another massive goal from Balentien. Or Balentien, I think we went with in the end, Balentien, but again, it's a massive goal for Foot Easy. Again, you've come out the traps, you've certainly looks like he's reset himself here.
Do we set up the wall again? That's what I'm wondering now. He's got himself another goal.
In the same way that we mentioned about Zelo when he made those changes in the first game that we saw way back in the early parts of today's broadcast. Made changes and then conceded 2 goals. Maybe he might learn his mistake here for Easy. Maybe just go, well, you know what, I might just stick to my own game plan here. Instead of playing the occasion, I'm just going to play my natural game. I think sometimes you can get a little bit sucked into it with eFootball, is that you play the result that's in front of you and you're playing the player in front of you rather than playing just your natural game.
Well, there's confirmation. Foot Easy scoring the first goal in extra time. If it's the only goal, he will be the champion. It's as simple as that. What can Zelo do here? That is an eternal question. It's a cross from far away down the wing, can't find any of his teammates. Just like that, we're about 5 minutes away from the end of the first period. He's going to have to dig deep here, Zelo. He's had to before, but he'll have to even still.
Yeah, I mean, this would be epic powers of recovery if he can somehow muster another equaliser
He'll have possession here towards the end of the first period. Salamakers has been instrumental in this attack, and Leao's in the box. Salamakers is here as well, just trying to get past Pavlovic, but nothing doing. And the first period will end thanks to that early goal. Futisi is 15 in-game minutes away from being our champion.
He's been here before. He's been here before in regulation. He's got to learn those mistakes very quickly of what was his undoing, because Zelo will try and come again here. And if there's anything we know about eFootball, there is always one more opportunity. There is always one more option. There's always one more idea that these players can really go to.
Nice 1-2 here in the final. Zelo needs a goal. And Kunku. This is Futisi on the ball. And the ball is trying to be forced over into the corner, exactly where you don't want it to be if you're a fan of Zelo. Over on the far side. 3, 4 white shirts to aim for in the box if there's a cross to come. Really nice defensive work by Futisi. Forcing Zelo all the way back. We saw a 90th minute goal just to force us to this point. Has Zelo got anything left in the tank here?
It's unfortunate his own players got in the way there.
Yeah, that's a really big shame, because that will surrender possession over, or will it? I think that was Tamori stealing the ball back. Nice switch of the play as well. The touch is really heavy. It's a strong challenge. Oh, and that's a big mistake, but wow, that is very fortunate to have collided with the player. The referee has had a big question asked of him. Clearly says ball and man, no problem there, and I think we are just moments away, are we, from crowning the Milan champion. It is going to be a Brazilian club event finals winner. It is going to be Futisi 10. Champion of AC Milan. He bests the 19-year-old Zelo 3-2 in what was a marathon of drama and ups and downs. But Wes, the day belongs to Bruno Mota da Silva, a Brazilian champion and now a Milan champion as well.
Yeah, I think on paper, I think given what we can look back on, undefeated for the day was a fitting champion for AC Milan to have represent them.
Yeah, we can look back over some of the goals that we saw in that really long final. Took just 15 minutes for Futisi to stamp his authority over Zelo. It was a really back and forth affair. It took extra time to separate them in the end. But credit to Zelo, he never gave up. Even when he was 2-0 down, only had 30 minutes to work with, thanks to that Leao goal for Futisi. But he brought it back, forced the extra time, thanks to the goals we'll see in a minute. It's a long season, isn't it, Wes? We'll no doubt be seeing Zelo again.
Oh, without doubt, I would assume that we will see him both in those club regional qualifiers for future club finals, and I would argue, would suggest probably to these club final events as well. Again, a real credit to, I would say, the European region. Of course, we know how valuable he is to Poland as a nation, but in terms of the European region, certainly saw how much love came out for him for that national success alongside of his brother. But again, just mentality monster. He just couldn't quite finish the job.
Yeah, there was that goal, that header at the front post, that forced extra time, but 5 minutes in, not even that, 4 minutes. There is the goal that crowned Futisi the champion. If my maths and time zone knowledge is correct, it's around about midday in Brazil at this moment in time, so perhaps a celebratory lunch on the card for Futisi, but there's confirmation. It is Futisi 10, your console champion of AC Milan. What a final. Congratulations to him. Unbelievable action there.
Yes, yes. So what's your favorite goal of the match, guys?
Oh, it's got to be that one in extra time, surely, Wes.
I think, yeah, we love a match winner. And again, it was more so it was the quickness in how they took hold of that extra time period. Once that goal goes in, completely resets that extra time period.
So, guys, Futisi won the prestigious trophy on our side, but also a golden ticket to represent the Rossoneri at the World Finals. Wow.
It's a big responsibility.
Of
when
course.
You hear these players in the pre-match interview, you hear them say it's an honor to represent a club with 120 years of history. Now you have to do it on the world stage. Obviously, everyone was watching them here, but at the World Finals in the summer, it's 10 times the amount of scrutiny, so you'll be under the microscope there, Wes. It's the pressure gets ramped up to 11.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you talk about, you know, the forward players that have represented AC Milan. You know, there's notable Brazilians. You think of Dida, the goalkeeper. You think of Cafu, one of the greatest right backs ever. We spoke at length already about Ronaldinho. And now, for easy Kaká, of course. How can I forget Kaká? Oh, I'll be had a go at by my elder brother when I get home.
Remember a lot of players, a lot of legends of AC Milan's history.
And
wow.
But now, for Easy is able to go and virtually replicate that success. He's able to then go, you know what? I represent AC Milan, and he can wear that badge with honour.
Would you choose Futisi as the winner when we did the prediction before?
I believe I jumped on a Brazilian double, so I'm going to take 50% of the plaudits. I will not take the 100% because I didn't get the mobile one right, but I will claim the console one.
I'm the loser. It's fine.
Yeah, because you chose 0, right?
I did. But
don't worry.
It's fine. It's a long season, Anna. Okay?
Oh, yes,
I'll have my chance.
We have time. We have a lot of time. You have to know that these two persons brought the England weather with them here.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, and apologies if you've heard me sniffing. I've also developed the English cold as well, so yeah, no, it's we definitely brought the weather with us to Barcelona.
We are in Spain and it's raining. Wow, thanks to you guys.
Sorry,
really.
Sorry everyone.
So guys, I want to just take a look to the standings before we will announce the second round finals of the day.
Yeah, there's the confirmation, Anna. Futisi, our champion, he topped the group stages, he obviously won the grand final and now has a chance to represent one of the most prestigious clubs we have in the eFootball Championship at the World Finals next summer.
Yeah, like we said, it's going to be a massive kind of statement for him because again, in terms of his abilities, he knows that he can now. He's got plenty of months to practice. He's got plenty of months to stick his feet up. He doesn't have to go and try and do any additional qualifiers or anything like that. He knows that he's got his ticket to a world final and he knows that he's there representing AC Milan.
Guys, let's not wait any longer to witness the second grand final of the day, the mobile grand final between Lezilali and La Bobo 7.
Yes, it's time. We found one champion of Milan. We need to find a second. And it will be one of two who find themselves great friends, now turned rivals. It's La Bobo versus Jalali. Who will be the first mobile champion of the season? Jalali in the all-changed white strip with the red cursor, attacking from right to left. La Bobo from Spain. In that home strip, blue cursor. Whereas we saw them earlier, it was an absolute barn burner. Plenty of goals. Something tells me this one will be a little bit closer, given what is at stake.
Yeah, it always is the way, is that the more that pressure is on, the more it kind of ramps up. And then I think here, we're going to see the best of these two. I certainly think that La Bobo, has a slight mental edge, knowing that you've scored that many goals. Yes, you came out the losing side of it against Jalali, but feel as though that you know that you can get at your opponent. It's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, despite the game earlier, I believe it was 4-3, wasn't it, in favour of Jalali. Despite the mobile games and chances coming few and far between, these two very, very clinical. So anytime it gets into a dangerous area, we're expecting them to capitalise. Here is Jalali, the man who came out on top earlier in this exact fixture in the group stages. But don't forget, when he played against Rentao, did not go his way, and in fact went so against him that he surrendered the top of the group to his good friend Lobobo 7 here, Wes, as well, the man we're talking about is threatening maybe to break through the lines. Yeah, the key bit about that, which I only realised after I saw this game kick off, is that if you finish top of your group, you have the first kick. Now, granted, a lot of people might go, well, kick off, Wes, they can't, it's not that valuable. Trust me, in terms of a mentality, in terms of having that first opportunity, knowing that you have possession of the ball, it's 9/10 of the law. So if you give that ball away in that opening stage, that's on you, but you have first dibs on having the ball in the first real opportunity. Yeah, it's also thrown me for a loop because we're so used to seeing Jalali in the home strip, having followed his group stage matches. But seeing him in the white shirt, white shorts, white socks, it's a bit of a culture shock. But it is as cagey as we anticipated here. We're 35 minutes in, and there's barely been a chance between the two that scored 7 between them in the group stages. That is how nervy and tense this affair will play out. Modric across the halfway line for Lobobo 7. Just waiting for the challenge, waiting for some backup here as well, maybe. And Kunku tries to feed his man on the overlap. Manyan called into action. It's almost half-time here, Wes. There is no minutes added on, and Jalali will be looking to try and capitalise out of his possession. But just like that, the first half ends 0-0, no shots. Yeah, that's the speed of a mobile game that I'm actually used to, because quite frankly, in the first game that we saw, there were stoppages galore because of the amount of goals that were scored. That has gone by in a blink of an eye, and again, I know that I tried to manifest extra time penalties in the console final, but the way that the makeup of the mobile game is, especially with how tight these games can be, if there's no goal, I would say in 90 minutes, extra time goes very, very quickly, and I think you can then get into that lottery of a penalty shootout. I mean, this is so bizarre to see, but just purely based on the fact Jalali in game 1 against Sakti won 3-2, that's 5 goals. Against Lobobo, it was 4-3, that's 7 goals. And then was it 4-1 against Rentao, 4-2? Plenty of goals were scored in his group stage campaign, but we've not seen any shots, let alone goals here in the final of mobile. We're underway in the second half. Jalali still the red cursor attacking the right-hand goal. And as I've said to you on many of occasions, Harry, that pressure does funny things to people when they're in front of the lights. Oh, nice double touch from the out. And whenever you see that purple power bar, you know there's a bit of extra fizz and zing on the input, be it a cross, a pass, or a strike. First touches here of the second half for Lobobo. Of course, these two mentioned they're great friends. Sometimes it's really difficult, psychologically almost impossible, when you know at this stage your adversary is someone that you know well, but also knows you well. Yeah, and that kind of, you know, if you're sparring partners or your training partners, it can be a detriment as much of a help. Yes, you'll pick up tips and tricks from your
training partners, but the reality is, of course, is that you then know each other's game very much inside and out, and you don't really have many cards left to play when it gets to this type of occasion.
Something tells me this final could just come down to one piece of brilliance. Will it come the Moroccans' way, or will it be the Spaniard who's caught offside that will produce it? You can almost feel the tension, can't you, Wes, through the screen. It's radiating out of this final.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've seen plenty of different things with mobile players as well. You talk about, you know, sweaty thumbs, and I know as much as people make light of it, you know, we've seen people use chalk, we've seen people use kind of like almost gloves for your fingers. There's all different types of tricks just to make sure that their inputs are pinpoint. But you could imagine just shaky hands, pressure, your heart rate spiking, your thoughts racing. There's so many different things you've got to control, and you've got to kind of almost be emotionally mature about it.
15 minutes left. And Kunku here for Gilali. Over the top towards Leao. Forces Tomori into a defensive action, and that will be a corner. Is that piece of brilliance I was alluding to on the horizon here? First real chance for us as well, Wes, to look at some of the team setups we've seen throughout the group stages. Gilali's makeup, and obviously we saw Labobo as well, but it's surprising for me to almost see them maintain the same formation at this point. Maybe you would elect to change things up a bit, but I suppose the ball hasn't really gone out of play. Yeah,
I mean, they haven't really had the avenue to make any changes. I think shape-wise and organisation-wise, you know, 5-2-3 or 5-3-2 as it appears in the game, dependent on how far forward you push that central figure of either be Luka Modric. You can see that the difference with Rafael Leao being pushed forward, it makes it a 5-2-3, but with that makeup on mobile, it seems to be a little bit more of a formation that's becoming a little bit more in vogue. Is playing 5-3-2 or 5-2-3, because it does give you the freedom of playing attacking wing back should you want to, but you can also set your two players on, you know, I think it's defensive, so you could potentially have them hang back. There is a bit more flexibility in it, especially within mobile. You probably won't see too much in console, because I think there's a bit more freedom with your 4-3-3s, your 4-3-2-1s of the world. But I think here it's starting to become more prominent as a overpowered formation. It certainly seems to be leaning more towards a meta formation.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. I just wonder if we will see a European winner of a mobile club event finals. I'm trying to cast my mind back as to the last time we saw it. I don't think we have ever seen a European winner. I think the closest was Abdutch a couple of seasons ago, of course, from Belgium. So
yeah, I think, yeah, the majority of mobile winners, it's either been through Africa and Morocco, or it's been through, you know, your Asia West or Asia East and other areas in Oceania. It's yeah, like you say, you're kind of hoping, at least from a, you know, if you have a European head on, you're kind of hoping that somebody comes through, breaks the mold, and really kind of breaks it down. And Labobo is as close as anybody at the moment.
He is indeed hoping to follow in the footsteps of some of those Spanish greats. Mestre, Alex Alberthil, De Palma, Jose, et al. They're all great in their own rights. But he needs to defend this corner first, and does so seemingly successfully. Rabiot is the outlet now in the latter stages of this second half of the grand final. Which way will the last chance fall? We're getting into that territory where the last chance could be the one that tells the story. 5 minutes left. Otherwise, we're heading to extra time and penalties, as we did with the console final. Penalties not needed on that occasion, of course, but extra time was on the menu.
Yeah, I think with the, as we've mentioned already, the speed in which this game ticks down, you're more likely to see the latter of those two things rather than the former. You might not see it end in extra time, you might see it end in penalties, which in and of itself is a cruel way to separate these two.
Would be cruel, but they're here for our entertainment. Gilali over the top towards Pulisic. Oh, there wasn't anyone waiting there.
2 added minutes has been indicated.
2 minutes added on. And a dangerous cross fizzed across the face of goal is met by no one.
That's got any touch on it, Harry. That's game over. Anybody there to arrive in a white shirt, that is done. Instead, we are heading to extra time.
They were ripping up the status quo. We've seen goals on goals on goals on the mobile platform in the group stages. By my count, it was around 16, 17 goals that we saw. But there is the full-time whistle, 0-0 between the two.
Yeah, nothing to separate them on this occasion.
It's very difficult in this type of environment to really understand what is going through the players' minds, because sure, you don't want to concede the first chance, but we only really saw Gilali moving the ball forward and threatening. We didn't see too much out of Lobobo, as much as I wanted to see a European eFootball mobile player for me to shout about.
Yeah, and that's the issue, is that there wasn't enough gilt-edged chances. There wasn't an opportunity to really kind of see them put their best skills, because I think pressure succumbed to both of them in that moment. I think they were under pressure. I think they felt that pressure, and it was only in the very latter stage did we see that one opportunity that went rolling across the box. And if anybody touches that, that's Jalili's title. But on that occasion, nobody tapped it in. And as a result, we'll have to see what is going to happen here between these two.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we couldn't have written it any better, because the two not only practice partners, but they're good friends. They're best friends with each other.
That's it. It's a little bit in the same fashion. It's like family and friends when you play against them. It's, you know, it's always a challenge. You know, I made mention at other tournaments that, you know, if you were playing with family members, it's, are you the best player in your house? It's the same way with your friendship group. Are you the best part? You know, are you the best in your friendship group? We don't know. Well, we'll put it to the test. Except these guys have decided, well, we'll put it to test in a really pressurized environment as opposed to behind closed doors.
I just love that they both come from such storied eFootballing countries as well. Of course, Spain and Morocco, one of which has had more success on mobile than the other, but both have really elevated the global eFootball scene within their respective countries.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it goes without saying in terms of Lobobo's kind of countrymen, we've seen plenty of them. Miguel Mestre, Jose, Alex Alguacil, the Palmer, Paul Lara, former world champion. There's so many, like, kind of historically good eFootball players that hail from Spain. Of course, on Morocco on the other side, yes, they lean more towards mobile, but you have players like Ayaz Bibisk, that, you know, in terms of console players, you know, you have a rich history of players that they come through at world tournaments, they come through in tournaments, and I think they surprise people in terms of what they're able to accomplish. And I think that for Morocco, I mean, similarly in real world football, I think that's a spot they're quite happy to be in. They, you know, they don't mind not having the limelight until it's too late for them, and then they have to have it. And I think players like Jalili, Tienes, and players of that ilk, I think that they will relish that opportunity of just saying, look, you know what, we'll be unassuming, we'll quietly go about our business, and then by the time you realise that we're very good, it's too late for you.
It's almost crazy to think that this is both of Jalali and Bobo's first big club event finals, because they're playing, albeit a bit of a cagey final that we just saw in the first 90, they're playing as if they've been here before, and especially with Lobobo's age in consideration. I mean, 17 years of age, just truly, truly amazing to see him play almost beyond his years and his experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, for it being your first event and for being your first qualification, you know, we heard from, you know, from Labobo, it was, do you know what? I just want to show that I can play. I just want to simply turn up and play. And he very much has, because he's got himself into a really strong position in his maiden event.
There is a shot we just saw there, Wes, of that amazing trophy. That's what these amazing eFootball athletes have been playing for all day. Truly some incredible, incredible action we've seen throughout today. We've seen so many amazing goals. I mean, just trying to think of some of the incredible mobile goals that we've seen, and just thinking back to that roulette followed by the Chivella, and we can see some of the action we've seen throughout today. But
that was the first goal of the day.
The level of eFootball that we've seen at this club of finals, it seems like every season, be it, you know, 24, 25 or 2026, it just seems to, the bar is raised, the skill ceiling is raised as people really get to know this game even better.
Yeah, and that's it. It's a case of, although it's familiar, and although it's, you know, it's as it's been for the last few years, there's still little tricks in the boxes that people are discovering. And like I say, it's timing. Yes, it's one thing having the ability on the sticks or the ability on your phone to produce, but it's knowing when to produce them. It's just timing, and sometimes it's the most basic of things. You know, it's as simple as a pass and a shot. It doesn't always have to be a double touch or a roulette or a super counter. Sometimes it can be as basic as one pass in to an open gap and one shot into an open opportunity. It can be as simple or as complex as you want to make it, eFootball. But again, we've seen some wonderful just control moments there. You see brilliant touch in the 6-yard box, and again, we've seen some quality, real quality on show from everybody, both on mobile and on console.
Yeah, indeed we have. Just seeing some of the handiwork from our club event finalists. Absolutely splendid, and you're right. I think that is what we see year on year. The game evolves, and sometimes it devolves. If you do the simple things right, you can win, just in the same way if you're able to master some of the complex actions, of which there are many in this great esport. You can really put your own spin on the game, which is amazing to see. I love to see it year on year as we await the resumption of our mobile final, Wes. I mean, Footy Fasil, we have to mention him earlier, of course, winning the console final in extra time. Congrats to him. I mean, you said it earlier, he can put his feet up now for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he has, you know, he can be a willing sparring partner for any of his countrymen that may want to, you know, get themselves ready for future, you know, jaunts. I'm sure the likes of, you know, as we mentioned, Guifera, Henriquinho, the kind of the back catalogue of Brazilian e-footballers will no doubt probably be knocking on his door going, I know you've qualified now, can you maybe give us a little bit of a hand here? I mean, the likes of maybe Guifera, an ex-world champion, may not necessarily want that.
He may not need it.
He may not need it, but it's one to have in the kind of the chamber, as it were. You know, and again, you know, there's a great power in knowing you're able to sit there and just see everyone else kind of go out and battle for it. Instead, you have the ability that you can spend the rest of this season, in the run-up to the World Finals, knowing that your place is already signed, sealed, and delivered.
And not only that, being able to represent AC Milan is a massive, massive honour, and that is why so many players took part throughout the entire qualifying process to get to this point. It's a qualification process, Wes, that started back before even Halloween. I think it was October 24th, 25th, something like that was phase one. Very, very a long time ago. They've had a couple of months to wait for their moment in the spotlight. And now it is really down to just finding who will be the mobile champion. We know Footy Fasil has done his business. It's about who can complete the business on the other platform.
Yeah, and that is truly what it kind of becomes, is that you kind of get down to these final moments of the AC Milan club finals, and we are very much just trying to just make sure that we have everything that we need to find out who is going to almost split the difference here between, you know, if we derive it to the nations, it's Spain versus Morocco, it's Labobo versus Jalili, who is going to come out on top. But as you said, it's been a long old road, you know, but as we mentioned at the very top of the show, I think players are starting to get used to that format now. They're getting into that position and getting into that idea of going, right, I need to maybe sacrifice a couple of months here. You know, depending on what club you want to go to, or depending on what club you want to go to, or go and compete against, or go to compete for, you know what block you've got to kind of block out. You know it's about a month, give or take, or it's over a month in this case. And I think players are now smarter to it to go, yep, I need to practice from here to here. You know, you hear a lot about sacrifice from a lot of players, and you know, some people miss out special occasions, some people, you know, it depends on the commitment level, they miss out on birthdays, you know, special landmarks, all of those different things, because that's their desire is to essentially at the end of it all, not only represent, in this case, AC Milan, they want to become a world champion. And there's, you know, there's only a finite amount of people on planet Earth that can say that they are a world champion within this esport.
Yes, indeed. Only a handful of people, indeed, especially where mobile is concerned. You would love, 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 love to write your name in the ever-evolving history books as mobile begins to increase its tenure in the esports landscape. The regional qualifiers happened, of course, in November, so over a month ago now, as we take a look over some of the results we've seen here today throughout the console group stages. It's been a day full of surprises, really, hasn't it, Wes?
It really has. I mean, you certainly look at, you know, I know you earmarked Takiman at the start of the day, you know, Earthbound Playstyle again. It was a very tough console group, and I think that result at the start of the day really kind of bled into what then happened in match 3 and 4, and also in match 5 as well, because it left Takiman with a lot to do with that opening draw, but it also left Earthbound Playstyle with a lot to do, and that match 4 against Foot Easy, I think that's the one that really did the damage to him. And I think looking at that makeup of how it kind of the day played out, it just kind of, that's what we mentioned, the first game of your day is so vital. You have to get off to a good start, because it just takes that pressure off into your second and third games.
Yeah, of course, and we saw there just briefly before we switched over to the mobile group stage results. Match 6, 5-4 between Zelo and his opponent. I mean, Earthbound Playstyle, I feel so sorry for him, because well, you're right, it is about how you start. It's equally as important as how you finish. Sadly, Zelo didn't come out with the win in the final, but will have that 5-4 victory to look back proudly on, that he never gave up.
And also, not to mention as well, Earthbound was 4-3 up in that game, so he was very much on the hill. He would have been going and leapfrogging Zelo, and Zelo had to, again, dive into those depths. We talk about championship rounds, we talk about having experience, and about going to the well. It's such a, you know, sports-related phrase, but you have to summon it from somewhere, and those extra moments that he would have had in those pressure environments certainly helped him out getting through that group stage.
A big question that I think Rentao is going to hate me for. Why do you think, since he won the World Championship in 2024, we haven't seen the resurgence of Rentao? Qualified for Manchester United's club event last year, but we did not really see too much of him. He was out of the group stages then, and he also, I believe, failed to qualify for the World Finals last year, and then here he is again in Milan, still failing to find his footing. Do you think it's because he doesn't start these club event finals off strongly, as you said, and maybe just struggles to make up the ground?
I think that was certainly the case today. I think the fact that, you know, you're going into game 3 on 2 losses, and then you show your best performance in a game that didn't really mean anything. You know, that's why I use the phrase of, I always use the phrase of when it counts. It's like, it's great being, you know, going through qualifiers. It's great being able to, you know, get to a club final event. But when the lights are the brightest and when the pressures are at its most, that's when you need to perform. It's great, you know, flat track bullying your way through, but when you get to here, this is where you need your best moments. You need to be prepared. You need to be ready to go. And I just think with Rentau, it's just a bit of almost kind of deer in headlights a little bit. Is that he wasn't quite sure of which way he wanted to play. And by the time, as we said, by the time you get to it, especially mobile, by the time you get to that moment of realizing it, it's too late.
It is too late. And sadly, he left it too late, as did Sakti, who, I'll be honest with you, I mean, Rentau and Sakti, the two with the most experience on the mobile platform. We expected them, we earmarked them even at the top of the show to say, this is our final to be played. We want to, you know, show these youngsters, as it were, these green players, that this is exactly why we've been here, done that, got the t-shirt, walked the walk, talked the talk. But it's the two youngsters, it's the youth, it's the revolution, if you will, that came out on top, and we did not see Sakti or Rentau get going.
Yeah, I think Sakti, by his own standards, I think he'll be disappointed with how it happened today and about how it kind of came to pass. I think, again, you know, a lot we mentioned about Indonesia as a nation. We've seen at length, we've seen the likes of Elga, we've seen the likes of Rizky Faydan, we've seen so many players come through the ranks, and you just felt like that was going to be another one to the ranks, and he just, unfortunately on this occasion, just fell short. And I think as a result, I think he'll be disappointed walking away. But again, you would expect the likes of the four players that have been knocked out today, you would expect them to be back in some form or fashion in future club events. You can almost bank on it. You know, once you have the eFootball bug of trying to qualify for things, you will relentlessly pursue it until you can pursue it no more.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, we are at the end of our AC Milan Club event finals. We are just waiting for our players. They've had a very long day, very tired. They're very excited to get things back underway. It's 0-0 at the end of 90 minutes between Jalali and Labobo. We're waiting for them to be ready to kick off extra time, and of course penalties there if we need it, Wes. It's set up perfectly well for us, and we just cannot wait for these players to be ready to show us exactly why they've made it to this point in time and at this stage of the competition.
Well, certainly, I mean, the replays you're seeing on the screen is the replay of their group game, which were incredibly finished 4-3 in favour of Jalali. But again, you know, to us as almost seasoned veterans of casting mobile games, a 4-3 scoreline in mobile is almost unheard of. In terms of
many goals,
especially in 90 minutes as well. That's incredible. But I think it was really just underpinned just how much they both wanted that victory. They both wanted to go all for it. You know, they were all action. There wasn't really a case of, you know, defense. What's defense? Like, is that outside my house? No, it's the thing where you're meant to be able to defend the lead. And seemingly these two players didn't really get that memo, and instead they just wanted to go all out attack and just go for it. And again, it took to the very last moment, if memory serves me correctly, that Jalali just about edged it right in the final moments.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's a tactic that will get you very far at the World Finals, but it gives us great entertainment, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're, as we said at the time, if you're a neutral, you absolutely loved it. You would, you know, there's been players of yesteryear in esports where they've very much 1-0'd their way to titles, or they've 1-0'd their way to prominent places in kind of tournaments. None of that on here. It was right. You're going to score? Okay, great. Oh, you're going to do a header? As you said, oh, well, I can do headers too. Like, this is what we're going to do.
It doesn't win you many fans winning 1-0 and edging out victories left and right, does it? It's the blitzkrieg players that really go through and win the plaudits and the fans and catch the eye of the viewers.
Absolutely, it's the firebrands. You know, you don't, you know, with respect, you'd never want to look to fandoms or comment sections and then just see the words boring next to your name. You don't want to see it. You never do. Instead, you want to be like, oh, that's my guy. That's my guy. That's the type of football I play at home. That's the type of football I'm seeing on a world stage. That's the type of people, you know, that's the type of player you can get behind. And that's why we have those types of characters where if we see, you know, Jalili as an example, if he makes it through, everyone will go, wow, what a great Moroccan representative. Oh, he's going to be awesome to watch in the World Finals. Similarly, on the other side, Lobobo, the storied history of Spain in esports. Oh, well, we can really get behind him because he just threw everything at it.
Exactly.
So it's going to be that almost, it's almost underdog mentality because you look at it and go, well, you know, you've not been to this type of stage before, but now you get to do it. And I think that's where, I think both of these players, regardless of who comes through, and regardless if you're a fan of the Rossinieri, I think they'll have earned many a fan in the neutral zone with the way that they've conducted themselves today.
Yeah, indeed they will. As we just saw there, that was the 90th minute goal that separated them in the group stages. And while we're just waiting for them to be ready for the extra time and penalties if it's needed, they've played out a 0-0 throughout 90 minutes. There was not a single shot in the first 45 of the final. It's night and day compared to what is essentially a more high-stakes game. Obviously, you're 30 minutes in-game of eFootball Mobile, maybe penalties, of booking your ticket to a World Finals.
Yeah, and I think that the reason why we saw that cagey nature was because they know what's at stake. They know exactly what's at stake here. And one wrong move, and one wrong mistake, or one wrong input, one wrong pass, and it could be lights out for you. That's how close they are. And both of these players will be in touching distance of knowing that they could take that title and then progress to that World Final.
Yeah, we can see some of the statistics from those 90 minutes. I mean, in the end, there were 3 shots. I believe that came the way of Jalali, because Lobobo was very quiet, kind of took a little bit of time to grow into the match. But, well, I can tell you now, we are finally ready for extra time. Thank you for your patience. It's as you were, 0-0 between Lobobo and Jalali here in the Mobile Grand Final. Lobobo in the black and red, Jalali in the white strip, if you had forgotten. It's been a while since we last saw this ball rolling across the virtual pitch, but we're finally now back underway. Our players are ready. And who will be the decisive victor here? And Kunku with that stunning strike attempt, that's blocked.
Yeah, it's gone for a corner. And again, you talk about like things where they've just been waiting and they've been preparing for this extra time period. You know, we talk about it a lot in terms of adrenaline dump. Is, you know, that slight delay, how much is that going to play a part here? Because you've got to get yourself back up again and go again. And of course, you're zeroing in potentially on some extra time here, as well as that dreaded penalty shootout if it goes that far.
Cleared at the front post, and Kunku will put it back into the mixer. Jalali starting as he finished the 90 minutes. As he's the one that is on the front foot. Liao with a nice fake shot. Oh, almost in at the front post there. Manyan saves, pushes it round, and it's a corner.
Yeah, that was a big moment, a big opportunity. Still not danger gone, though, with the set piece due. It could still be a problem here.
Potentially the last big chance of the first period of extra time. Into the mixer. Cleared away. And it's 0-0 after 105 minutes of play. How do we separate these? How do we separate these two? It's not destined to go to penalties, is it, Wes?
I mean, I know one way to separate them. Just let them play all night. That'd be great. No, in all seriousness, it feels like it's very much careering to a penalty shootout. it very much feels like it's going that direction, unless there is a moment of brilliance in these final stages of this extra time period. We will be seeing ourselves a penalty shootout to decide who goes on to the World Finals to represent AC Milan.
Well, it was Huda in 2025. The year before it was Joy Boy. This year it has to be Labobo or it has to be Jalali. And something tells me they still won't be separated in the next 15 in-game minutes, whereas we have a second period of extra time to try and find that separating goal. Will it come, or will we be forced to find a winner via a penalty shootout? 10 minutes left here already, whereas that's how quick the action goes down, and Labobo hasn't really had anything to write home about in the previous 115 minutes or so of eFootball mobile play. It has been all Jalali.
Maybe that's been the tactic, Harry. Maybe it's a case that it's just a case of nullify what your opponent can do, drag them into the trenches, and then spring a surprise when they least expect it.
Well, that one has trickled out agonisingly. And we may get one more big chance in the mobile final. Maybe, just maybe. Is this where Labobo will spring the trap after waiting for so long? He might just get the last attack here with the final, and Kunku forward. Rafa Leao into the box. Oh, he's beaten his man as well. It's stood up. But it is cleared, and we are headed to a penalty shootout between Labobo and Jalali to decide who will represent AC Milan. Will it be the Moroccan? Will it be the Spaniard? Either way, it will be drama.
It will. It absolutely will, as we get ourselves prepared for penalty kicks.
Of course, if I'm not mistaken, Wes, I believe on mobile you can only go left, middle or right, so we're essentially in a game of hold your nerve. Up first, it's Labobo and he misses.
That's a important save to start with from Jalali. Yeah, you're quite right. Depends on the type of controller you play. If you're playing with touch and flick, it depends on how hard you flick the screen, is how high it can go. But I think in this particular moment, as you rightly said, right, left or centre, take your pick.
Well, having just saved a penalty, Jalali tucks his one home with real confidence. Advantage to the Moroccan here in the shootout. That heaps all the pressure over to Labobo 7. That timer is ticking down. He'll have to take his penalty within that timer. Leao steps up and it's saved again.
I think even with the piece of gamesmanship, still wasn't convincing.
Well, with a chance to make it 2-0 in the shootout. Pulisic will step up here, and as cool as you like, will convert his penalty.
Yeah, it's a nice penalty there. Gives Jalali a 2-0 lead here.
No waiting this time, and Kunku stepping up neatly into the bottom left.
Yeah, Labobo finally on the board in this shootout. He's going to need a couple saves or a miss or two.
Rafa Leao down the middle and guessed correctly by Labobo. There is that save.
I was told once upon a time that it takes a brave person to go down the middle twice in the shootout. It's a very important spot kick.
Labobo to even up the shootout. Ravio tucks it home.
Now, for those keeping score at home, Labobo does need another stop to keep himself in it. It isn't gain point by any stretch, but a big save.
We'll see what Modric does at this penalty. Oh, he converts his. So Lobobo needs to score, as of course he took the first spot kick in this shootout. Needs to score, and does. And from needing to score, he now needs to save. Jalali on championship point here. It'll be the left foot of Rabiot to potentially send the Moroccan to the World Finals, and does so. Jalali, after a marathon day, puts Morocco back on the eFootball map. We have another Moroccan mobile champion. His name is Jalali.
Yeah, it's a wonderful, again, bit of mentality from him in the penalty shootout. Needed to convert when the moments mattered, and did so brilliantly. Saved 2 penalties to start proceedings there, and that really just gave him that bit more confidence to carry it through.
Yeah, indeed, it's never fun having to step on your friend's head, essentially, to make it to a World Championship, but I hope that's not in the mind of the 22-year-old Moroccan, Zakaria Jalali. Took a long time to get us to extra time, as the players just wanted to make sure they were absolutely ready to proceed, but in the end, it took penalties to separate the two friends, and it's the 22-year-old Moroccan, Jalali, our East Asia and Oceania regional winner, who will represent AC Milan at the World Finals. What a story.
Yeah, he got dragged into the trenches by Lobobo, but came out the victor. That looked to be just getting into those moments, but these are the key moments, the real key moments.
It's very rare, Wes, when you miss the first 2 spot kicks in a penalty shootout, that you're able to come out and convert it into a good result. He tried his best, Lobobo. And again, 17 years of age, he will have a bright future ahead of him. But there's confirmation, your mobile champion, Jalali.
What an intense and full of suspense final, guys. Wow. And congratulations to Jalali, of course.
So much suspense, so much suspense. And when you go into extra time against a good friend, someone you know really well, there's so much pressure on your shoulders that it is the cooler head that often comes out on top. I think on the balance of fairness, Wes, based on, although it was 0-0 after 120 minutes, we saw the majority of the chances going to Zakaria Jalali's side. And the balance of fairness, you'd say maybe the eFootball gods in the end smiled upon him.
Yeah, I think so. I think on the balance of it, I mean, we saw the incredible 4-3 from them earlier on in the group stage, but I think just in that final, it was, you know, if you're talking about winning on points, you feel as though that he would have won that decision if it had gone to some judges. I think they may have just edged it towards him, but the penalty shootout told in the end. Those 2 saves in the first 2 penalties are absolutely vital. Big congratulations to the Moroccan.
So at the end of these 2 incredible finals, we can sing "We Are the Champions." No, it's not a good idea, but guys, this is a wrap of the AC Milan Club event. But the eFootball Championship 2026 continues, and more eFootball competitions by Konami, of course. So stay tuned to the eFootball channels and don't missing anything on what's to come. Harry, Wes, thank you. You were 2 top players. This is the perfect definition for you. Really thank you to livening up all the games, all the programs, as nobody knows best.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's great. As I said earlier, Italian flair on the wing.
Oh,
it goes
yes.
really well.
I was gonna say, I've not been called a top player in a while. I'll take that. I'll take that all day long. No, we've enjoyed your company. I've enjoyed Harry's company. This has been a blast.
We'll only have to go to San Siro and to eat pizza, lasagna and calzone.
That's the one. We need to dial that in.
Okay, yes.
It's a date.
And thank you all behind your screen for following us during the AC Milan Club finals. Thank you. Hope you have enjoyed it and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.